everyone, it's me, Arl Adrian. Today I'm going to talk about the Assyrian Genocide. So recently, I dyed my hair light brown by accident. I'll probably do another video on that in the future. Probably in my second channel. I also did a video on praying the rosary in Turkish, which is found on my second channel. So to start, during the Ottoman Empire, the Assyrians lived in southeastern Turkey near Diyarbakir, although there are communities of more than 50% of the population being Assyrian in the areas of Sirt and Hakkari. They numbered about 1 million at the turn of the 20th century. They worshipped Syriac Christianity, which is mostly the Nestorian Church of the East, the Chaldean Catholic Church, the Syriac Orthodox Church, and the Syriac Catholic Church. They were treated like second-class citizens in the empire like other Christians. It has also been documented that the Kurds also massacred the Assyrians in 3 instances, in Badr Khan during 1840 to 1846, and Diyarbakir in 1895 to 1896 by the Hamidians. So these events were happening at the background of World War I. Since Russia was conquering land in the Ottoman Empire, the Ottomans wanted to kill all of these Christians living in their empire. They felt that these Christians were going to use Russia and other Western powers for sovereignty at the expense of the Ottoman Turks. In October 1914, they were deported to Lake Van alongside with the Armenians. The general characteristics in the Assyrian Genocide is that more people were killed in rural areas than in the cities. The property, villages, and animals were confiscated to prevent their return. They were killed with various methods. They were stabbed, beheaded, drowned, shot at, and stoned to death. They also kept collections of body parts, such as ears, nose, and women's private parts. The events of the Diyarbakir province go on as this. The Assyrians in Kızıltepe were gathered in the church and burned. The women and children from Diyarbakir were deported. Some even had to flee to Mosul. Only a small number reached their destination, in which most of them were raped and sold. In the village of Chirain near Diyarbakir, 14 men were killed. The women and children were put into forced agricultural labor and were either forced to convert or die. Some of the Kurds wanted to protect the Assyrians, but they were told not to. It was reported by Viscount Bryce and Arnold Toynbee that all of the Christian villages were exterminated. The events of Lake Van began when men from Yuksikova were arrested and transported to a local government center in Bashkale, and it was due to them being accused of collaborating with the Russians, which is a common theme throughout. There was such a thing called the Butchers' Battalion, which was the name of the 8,000th soldiers hired by Jevdet Bey, military governor of Van Vielet. They were ordered to kill at least 20,000 Assyrians in the town of Sirt alone, although other sources dispute that less people were killed. Another notable event that took place was that the Chaldean Archbishop Adaishir was killed. In April of 1915, after many failed invasions by the Kurds, the Ottoman army invaded Yuksikova and massacred the local population, with the women forced into sexual slavery. The events of Iran spilled over from the events in Turkey, where the Ottomans invaded northwestern Persia in 1914. Ottoman Kurdish troops had to take the 61 Assyrians as hostage. When the French had paid the Ottomans ransom, about 20 Assyrians were released. The other 41 were killed. There's also a thing in which Muslim Azerbaijanis were protecting the Assyrians. For example, in Salmis, the Iranian citizens tried to protect the Assyrians. In one instance, when other Assyrians were hiding in the house, they were forced to march in the fields between Kuswara and Haftabin. About 4,000 Assyrians died of disease, hunger, and exposure in 1915, and about 1,000 died in Urmia. There was widespread sexual violence among the Assyrian women. About 200 girls were forced into sexual slavery and converted to Islam. The situation got really bad, and the Assyrians had to escape to the Bakuba camps. The British suggested it to them. Some would die from exposure, hunger, and disease. When they got into the camps, they were forced to defend themselves from further Arab and Kurdish attacks, which they were able to do so successfully. And a memorandum of the Assyrian Archbishop of Syria. The death toll in Harput was at 3,500, in Midyat at 25,830, in Diyarbakir and surroundings at 5,679, in Jezreel at 7,510, in Nusaybin at 7,000, in Mardin at 5,815, in Bitlis at 850, in Urfa at 340, and tens of thousands in all other areas. Currently, the Assyrian Genocide is recognized in Arizona, California, and New York. 10 other legislatures that have recognized the Assyrian Genocide was included in the Armenian Genocide Resolution, which are Alabama, Colorado, Delaware, Georgia, Indiana, Michigan, South Dakota, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. I'm showing you all the memorials right now to close. Thank you all for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.